Welcome, Christelle. Thank you very much for joining us today. So
Thank
can
you.
you give our listeners a little bit of background information about yourself?
Sure, yes. So I am Christelle. I am something like 45 years old or something like that. I don't count anymore.
It's good not to count.
I am French, living in Germany. I have been in Germany for a long period of time already, so almost 20 years. And I came as an engineer in Germany. And now I am a coach and I help women to find a meaningful career, a meaningful and a profitable one, because both are important.
Both are very important. And so you started out as an engineer. So when, I guess it's kind of a two-part question, when and why, or maybe how did you make that shift from engineering into coaching?
Yeah, I think the main question is why I have been engineer at the first place. But so with 18, I wanted to be a psychologist, but they told me that it's not a good career and that it was, not a proper career and so on. So I just somehow continued and I was engineer. So I studied chemical engineering. And so I wanted to travel. So I tried to travel during my studies, like England, Germany, China. So I tried to grab as much as possible, so foreign countries. And then because of that, I achieved to arrive in Germany and to start for a French company to grow the German market. And I was alone in Germany, so it was 20 years ago. And I thought that I would just stay a few years. And then
that's what a lot of people think. Oh, it'll only be a couple of years. And
because I was used like every 2 years to go somewhere else. And I really like that. And I couldn't really think about staying in one country for a long period of time. So after 2 or 3 years, my company asked me to move to Frankfurt. I was in Stuttgart, and then I moved to Frankfurt. Okay, another country, same country, but another city. And then I wanted to move to England because I had a new job there, or I could have the opportunity to have a new job. And I stood in Germany, and now I have my life, my 3 children, my husband, my German husband. So yeah.
Okay, great. And so then was there something that specifically happened, a time or something that made you transition more into coaching? Was it something that was quick, or did it just kind of slowly happen over time for you?
And I think it was a kind of a slow thing, or it was always present. Like I always told my mother, well, I do these engineer things because I have nothing else to do, and I'm traveling a lot because of that, because I was in charge of international sales, so I travel all around the world, which is cool, and I could grow a lot, learn a lot, and I love that. So it was good enough. But at some point, with 30 or something like that, I told my husband, I want to go back to psychology because the engineering things is kind of empty. It's doing a lot of money for the company, trying to do more business and more business, but I don't really grasp the meaning of that. And I felt emptiness inside of me. And I think it's after my second child, it was always I was always more like depressive and not understanding why I should put so much effort and energy into doing this kind of job, which was meaningless for me. And my depression were always deeper and longer, and I couldn't find a way how to go out from that. I was already a lot into personal development. So I started to meditate very, very early in my life and so on. But something was missing. And at some point, I told my husband, okay, I don't care what you think, and I don't care what people think. I'm just going to do what I think is important for me. And coaching was really something that I thought was the best way for me, because psychology, I knew that it's interesting, but it's not there isn't, the tools are not really the tool that I wanted to use. I like to have like a goal and to eat it and to have the right tools. And I thought coaching is far more into the real life and psychology. And because I like tangible things,
yeah,
tangible processes, like engineer, like it. So that's why I decided to go into coaching. The interesting things is that at that moment, I decided in my mind, I don't care what they think. I don't care what the society think I should like, or I just go for what I think is important for me. I never had any kind of depressive moment anymore. That was the end. It was 10 years ago.
Wow. And that's great. And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with, is what people think. I have a bit of a, what I call shiny object syndrome, that I believe I can do so many things. And I know that I can do them, but I can't do all of them at the same time.
Exactly.
And so I'll do one, but then I get bored quick. And then I'm not doing that anymore. Now I'm going to do this. And I'm do something, and then I'll go back and work on it a bit, because I don't want to let it go, because I already started. And then I get to sometimes a crossword where it's, do I really just want to give up, and then not give up, but again, transition or pivot or change and do something new. And then there's always part of it, it's like, well, what are other people going to think? Like, how many things have I tried, or how many am I doing? And I do good with all of them, and I enjoy them, but it's really good to be at that point of, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says. This is what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it was interesting because at that time I had like 2 or 3 children. So they were really small, like between 0 and 5 years old. I still had my job. My husband was, again, the fact that I wanted to change my career, thinking about like, well, you studied engineering, you cannot let that go. It's not possible. So, yeah, it is. But so I had to go against that. So it was, and then I had to study the coaching things. I studied it during 2 years, because it's not something that you can have like that. It's a little bit of work. So it was, my life was even more complex and even more tiring. But the energy came back.
Nice.
And that's why I do what I do, because I want people to fight for what they think is their path, their fulfillment. And it's so great. So it's just to be at this place, then you are another person, you have another kind of charisma, your message is clearer, your impact on this world is higher, and the life is the life that you think, okay, if I die today, it's all good. I have done what I think I should have done in this moment. And I think it's really, really important.
Yeah, and I think it's great, because too, it's, as you said earlier, when everything was going well and good, but you had that feeling that it just, something's missing, it wasn't right. And I had that before when I was living in Canada, and I decided to leave and move to Costa Rica. And I had a company there, and like everything, I had everything there. And I just said, I have tech gurus, and I'm using quotations for those who are listening, said I had a good business. I had a house, I had rental property, I had vacation property, family, everything. So I was supposed to be, according to them, like the happiest person in the world, because I have what everybody strives to have. And I just wasn't happy. And I remember one time I went to a seminar and I left, and I just thought, I have everything they said I'm supposed to have, but something's missing. Like it's not right. It's not all these things or stuff that they're talking about. And this was probably about 12-ish years ago, when I just said, no, I need a change. It's time to change. I need something different. It's not about all of this. And I'm still striving to figure out exactly what it is.
What it is.
As I said, I want to do everything. But I always am really enjoying everything that I am doing.
Yeah, and I think as well, that's the thing. It's a journey. It's not like you are here and one day after, or maybe 3 months after, it's done. So maybe it's done for the moment. Maybe you are fine what you want to do for the moment, but eventually in 5 years or 2 years or 10 years, depending on the character of the people as well, it's going to change. So it's a journey and it's okay.
Right.
And there's so many people thinking, yeah, I am where I am right now, and I cannot change. Or if I change, that's going to be it. But it's like project things sometimes. So I think when we started to look at this way, not to have just one career for life, but maybe like to have different paths, jobs, journeys. So we think more about what is my next project, or what is my next step, or can I have 2 projects parallelly, depending of the people. So I have like one ex-client, she has, I don't know how many different kind of projects. So she has her business, but then she has a lot of different things. She loves that. So she's completely
like me,
busy.
actually. That sound like me.
Yeah, and there is some other people, it's like, oh no, I can just concentrate on one thing. And I'm going to do that. And after that, I'm going to do another one thing. And maybe I am a little bit more in this. I'm not sure yet, or maybe like 2 or 3 things, but not more than that. But again, it's to understand what kind of person I am, to go deeper, to accept that, and to see that there is some strength into this behavior, and it's fine. And then, yeah, we can go and have like our uniqueness and our power using it. So it's all what I want my client to define and to go with it.
So how do you help them kind of figure out what it is that they may want to be doing? If they're just kind of maybe at the beginning of, I know something's missing, I'm just not happy, life is okay, not even bad, it's okay, but I'm just not happy and fulfilled.
Yeah. So what I use, and I think it's where I am a little bit different than the other career coach, is what I use is really like an holistic approach. And I look at the psychological part. I look at the very like more consulting part, so the more career part. And then what we do as well is that we look at the complete life. So what is your private life? What is your life, the lifestyle that you want to have, which define as well what kind of job you want to have. If you have like, you are like an expat and living in different countries in the coming 10 years, so eventually you are going to see things completely different than if you are like I am, stuck in a country. Whatever, so I can work wherever I want. So I decided to still, if I am here in Germany, I decided to have something very flexible because I need this freedom. Right. But we look at that. So we really look at, okay, what kind of things energize you, engage you, what kind of lifestyle you have, what kind of strength you have, what is your story, what is your past, what was your passion. So we do like a big overview. And then something pops up, which I love, because we never know what's going to happen. Right. It's really like a creative process. And I really go in this creative process as much as possible. Some people love it because it's really fun, having like this no limit and thinking about what kind of project or what kind of thing I could create. And some of the people, they are so rational that they're no, I don't want to go in this huge.
Well, it seems it's too overwhelming. Like there's too much possibility. What do you need of anything? Like that's sometimes I find that too, that sometimes too many options is too much, that it is easier sometimes to make a decision if we are, I'll use the word limited, or if we kind of know more, but if there is too many options, too much, then for some people it is really hard to try to figure it out because they get overwhelmed by all the possibilities.
Yeah, or sometimes they get overwhelmed by discovering the kind of power that they have. Oh my God, I can do so many things I didn't even know. What we do is that we concentrate on 3 different projects.
Okay.
One usually is like a very rational one, like where the society would see you, like in my case would be continuing in the engineer path, like just going one step further. So that is usually what's going on. But then there is 2 other ways, and then it's where the creativity can take place and where the magic happen. And then depending on what's going on, then we have to be concrete again. So to look at, okay, what are the possibilities like now really, like money-wise, time-wise, what kind of resources and so on, and what do you want to do with that? So, but first of all, it's like to go broad and then to come back to, okay, here are 3 possibilities. What do you think about it? What is possible? What kind of energy do you have? The context, the what if you have children or not, if you have to move or not, if you understand the language or not of the country, and so on. So stuff like that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of considerations, and I like how we said earlier too, to think of it as maybe just like a phase in life, because things change, right? Just as you are where you are now and you have children, but eventually your children are going to get older and leave home, and that can be another phase of life. Or if your husband gets an opportunity to work in another country and you discuss that, and that again can be another phase. So even though to a degree we like to have so much certainty and consistency, human beings also like to have a little bit of change, and we never know when that change is going to happen.
Yeah, some of my clients, so they feel kind of secure in their job, but because of that, because of the world changing all the time, they want to feel prepared.
Right.
If that happened, they want to feel prepared. So, okay, I kind of know who I am. I kind of know what kind of strength I have. I kind of know how to negotiate, because it's part of what we do as well. So I feel prepared if for some reason it doesn't work out where I am right now. I want to feel prepared to be able to go and search for something that makes sense to me. And I think it's a good idea as well, because indeed, so I think really one thing that we should have now is this flexibility and this letting go of things, because we don't know.
Never know what's going to happen. Like I say to people in 2 different ways, it can be done. Like life can change. I say 5 minutes, but I mean, we know it literally within a minute. It's one phone call, one wrong step off a sidewalk. And it could be nothing that's like bad. I mean, if I fell down the stairs, it's like one wrong step, I fall down the stairs and I break my leg. Now that changes at least for the next few months until I heal. So it's not, life can always change, and it can only be 1 minute or 5 minutes away. So when things are great, enjoy it, but it will change. We go through stuff, and when things aren't great, okay, I know it's tough, but it will change.
Yeah. And one of the person that I had this morning, she told me, indeed, so my life looks perfect. So like money, job, family, everything is fine. But I feel that it's really empty. I feel like I am juggling with like plates, and at some point it's going to fall down, to crash. And I have this feeling that I'm losing my time. It's like every day, one day further and further and further. And I am now 34. And so I have this feeling that I have only one life.
Yes.
And I do nothing with that. It's like, nice house. Okay. But like, colorless.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people in the world that are feeling that way. And in a way, we make it kind of look that way because we want people to think things are fine and we're doing okay and we're going through it, and on paper a lot of things can look good, but again we feel empty inside. And at least she recognizes that and is wanting to do something to make a change, to figure it out, what it is to make her life more fulfilling.
Definitely.
And so how long do you generally work with people?
Well, so if there is different phases. So like this lady this morning. So the thing is that, so there is a lot of things not working properly. She's like very, very close to burnout.
Okay.
So in this case, so what we are going to do together, we are going to work 6 months together.
Okay.
3 months really to look after her, like the centerpiece, and seeing, okay, what kind of, who are you? Because usually she has children, they moved a lot as well. And so I don't know. I am not the same person that I was 20 years ago. That's just one thing that I know. I know that at that point I knew who I am, but now it's so different that I'm completely lost. So I am a wife, I am a mother, I am an employee and so on, but I don't recognize me. I don't know who I am. So we look at that usually. We look at the life-work balance as well. We look at how it works at home. In order to have like a team at home, like really having, not being, usually the mothers, the problem is that they are in the center of the family. And if they are not working, everything crashes down. And if they are not functioning, I mean, and I have so many women telling me, I feel so alone when I am in my family, because I am supporting everyone, but I have the feeling that I am not visible, so nobody is there for me. And I find it's really a pity. It's really a pity. So I have three boys. So I have three boys, but they are here. So if I am sick, I know that they are going to do everything, and they are between 7, 8, and 12 years old. They are not that teenager, or they are still small, but even like 2 years ago during the lockdown, so I didn't have the impression that I were alone in my family. They were there and we function all together as a team. So it's what I like them to understand. They don't have to be Wonder Woman. They can be Princess Layla, like having a team in working with
that. I like that one, to be Princess Layla. I like that one.
Because Princess Layla, when she's in her bed, the revolution is still continuing. There is the Jedi and there is the armies and so on. So she's there. She can have a tea. She can just decide to go, I don't know, on vacation, and it's going to continue. If you are like a Superwoman, Wonder Woman, well, she does everything alone.
Right.
Nothing happens if she's sick.
And then that's a problem.
That's the problem.
And everybody gets sick. It happens, and then things start to really fall apart.
So I help them to change that and to have like a team at home, feeling like the peace, the harmony at home, feeling the balance, feeling that they are not going to miss anything regarding their children, because there is a lot of moms when they try to be a little bit more selfish, they're afraid that they are going to miss something. So we can have tools to be sure that we see the needs of our children, but still we see our needs as well.
Right.
So for some of them, we are working first on that. And then when they feel centered again and they feel stable again, so we go in the career change. And for some of them, so we go directly in the career change. It's like 3 months, very intensively. And sometimes it's enough. Sometimes we follow a little bit longer. It's depending if they want to have like to grow a business. It can take a little bit of more time. If they want just to change a job, it can be very, very quick. So yeah, between 3 months and 6 months, we'd say.
Right. And of course, because everybody's situation is a little bit different. I remember somebody said it many years ago, and it caused a big controversy in the media. And when I heard it, I completely agreed with the woman who said it. She said, my number one priority in life is myself. I'm more important than my husband, and I'm more important than my children. And you know, the media takes things a bit out of context and stuff. But then after, she said, the reason why I'm number one is because I need to be happy. And my husband is number two, because I need to be happy, healthy, and doing well to have a great relationship with my husband. And our relationship is number two, because if we are happy in our relationship as parents, we are great for our children. And if there isn't that kind of you know, not that she's number one and does whatever she wants, but her happiness and health and everything has to be priority. And then her relationship with her husband, and then that with her children, because that's the way to have a good, healthy, strong family.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's exactly the kind of things that I say. So I always say you are your biggest asset. So and it's the same if you want to build your business. So you are the number one. You have to take care. It's like having a business. You have like the best employee ever, and you don't care. It's not going to work long. And it's exactly the same with us. So we are our best employee, or we are our best, the best person in our life. So we have to take care of about ourselves. If we don't take care about ourselves, why the other should do that? They look at us as well. They, okay, if she doesn't care, I'm going to don't care for her. So
exactly. And we can't, you know, we can't make somebody else care. We can try to do things to make them happy, but internally, when somebody's not happy because they're unfulfilled or whatever it may be that's going on, we can't make somebody else better. They have to take that responsibility. And I think that's a challenge for some, because some people like, it's my responsibility to make me happy.
Yeah.
And it's a big responsibility, but we have to do it for ourselves.
And what I believe as well is that when we achieve to do that as an adult, that we take the responsibility of our happiness, and that we are more in our power, in our essence, then it's exactly something that we give back to our environment. So we give that back to our children, for instance. If we do that for us, they always are looking at what we do.
Oh, always. They're always watching. Even when we don't think they're watching,
Exactly.
or they're hearing. They're always hearing.
Yeah. So sometimes we tell a lot of things and it doesn't work with telling things, but it definitely works. They look at what we do and they do the same. So I know that one child, because I do a lot of stress management and personal development for teenagers as well. And one young lady told me, oh, my mentor or the person that I love is my mom. And so, okay, why? Well, she's sacrificing everything for us. And she's okay.
It's not a good mentor to have. I mean, it's nice to appreciate and really be grateful and have a lot of gratitude for that. Absolutely. But then mentor, to follow, to want to do the same is
exactly. She's going to be the same. She's going to do exactly the same. She's going to complete, and she's starting to do that already, because there is a lot of children. She's the biggest one, so and that's why she's so stressed. And I was like, it's exactly what I don't want. I don't want that my children say something like that. So I want my children to be strong and to see what is good for them. It was what is good for the loved one, and then to find a way to deal together.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so do you work with clients all around the world, or mostly in Germany?
I have clients a little bit everywhere. It's really depending right now. I have clients in US, I have clients in China, I have clients in France and in Germany. But there are a lot of them are expat, like a Japanese woman living in Germany, or Italian woman living in Germany, or German woman, but she moved already all over the place.
She's now somewhere else now.
Yeah. So very international. Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, that's great. So what do you find as some of the challenges that you've had with starting your business and having your business?
I think the most challenging was, first of all, to get the support that I wanted to get, but I didn't really get the support of my husband. So at the beginning, it was very complicated for me because I was really afraid. Yes. And I was looking for having like a support in order to help me to go fully for it. And I couldn't find it. So it was how to deal in the family when one part doesn't really understand it, doesn't want it, and how can you do that? So for me, it was really a long, a big and painful journey. But it was a very good journey because I understand. It was a big learning, let's put that this way. So it took me a while before I could find the right people in order to find the right path. So I think now I would do it differently, and I would go further, so quicker to like a mentor or a coach helping me. Now I have a lot of coach around me and helping me to go where I want to go and so on. So now I have really a great support everywhere. But at the beginning, it was really, it was more this fear. So this inner fear, how to do that? Is that correct? I am right. So all the questions that my clients are asking themselves right now, right?
Well, yeah, and I mean that's the thing is since you've been through it, you understand exactly where they are coming from and where they're at, because you can think of yourself as the person that you were when you said, I'm going to do something different, and not getting that support.
Exactly, like investing the money. If you invest for you, you don't invest for your family. Is that correct? And I can say, yes, it's correct. But at the beginning, it's like, oh my God.
Right. And so how does your husband feel now about what you're doing?
Very good now. So now very good, but I think it's because for him it was a big process as well. So he has a really nice job as an employee, and it's just, I think not everybody can or want to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
And I think there we are completely different. So he really want to have the security, and I'm like, well, let's go do it. And at the beginning, I think it was a lot of fear on his side, and I couldn't really understand that, and I wanted the support. So it's how it was complicated. Now he knows, so it's working. He's kind of proud, I think.
I'm sure he's probably very proud. I'm sure he's probably very proud.
Yeah,
and that's one thing too, when we have different personality types, and we do have that in the family structure and the friend structure. I've been self-employed for 25 years. I've only had a few jobs where I was an employee when I was quite young. And I remember one time, even years ago, talking to a friend of mine, and she just said, she's like, I don't understand how you do what you do. And I said, well, what do you mean? What don't you get? She's like, well, you work for yourself, you go get clients, you do payroll, like you do everything. She said, I'm good at my job. I'm really good, but I go to work, I do my thing, I get paid. She said, you 1 month you can do well, the next month not so well, and you're doing it. She's like, I don't understand how you can do that. And I said the opposite. I said, I don't know how you can go to work and go to an office and do the same thing day after day after day. Like, I don't understand that. And so it is that personality type. So I'm sure that it's hard, especially with a spouse, when they are more the employee personality, to be, why would you give up? You know, the paycheck, the stability, the everything. And then as, you know, the self-employed, to be the opposite. I always say, just because you have a paycheck, I said, that's what's the word that I'm looking for? It's not necessarily a guarantee. I said, you could go to work tomorrow and lose your job. So just because you have a job now, to me, that's kind of like a artificial stability, because you don't really, you think you're secure, but are you? Where I know, if I work harder or do more, if I need to make more, then I have a way to get more clients or do more things to make a bit more money if I need to. But if you're an employee,
you can't. That's it.
So I've had those discussions with lots of people.
But that is interesting, because the question is, why do you think it is so? Why do you think that people feel safe when they are employee? And they don't have any kind of control? They cannot at some point say, okay, I need more money, I just do more money. Why do you think is they have this feeling of security, and that the self-employed or the entrepreneur they don't have that anymore? Why do you think it's there?
I don't know. I think for some reason, and I think it's something that's been instilled in us over the years, because perhaps with our parents' generation and before, it would be, you go to school, you get a job, you work with that company forever, because companies generally didn't go out of business. And so you had that security, and that's what we're kind of told and taught throughout the years. And so a lot of people think, okay, well, I do that. But I think too, when we look in kind of hindsight over the last even 10, 15 years, there's been some massive companies, or we perceive to be massive, that had been, let's say, doing some shady things, and all of a sudden don't have any money, and people no longer have jobs. And so that's when I realized that having a job is a false sense of security, because there is no control.
Yeah, there is a few of my clients right now, it's exactly what they experienced between during the lockdown, so the last two years. So they thought my job is really like flight attendant or something like that. So they thought it's going to be
It'll be on forever. I'll always have this job. It's great.
Yes,
People are always going to travel.
Yeah, and then they couldn't fly during the last 2 years. Oh my God, I had no job anymore. And at that moment, I said, okay, I really need to find my resources. I really need to, again, to get prepared. And that's why they decided to take my my program. And now say, okay, I'm going to still have my job, because there is some part of it I like, but I'm going to create my project, and that is going to have a very nice balance, not every egg in the same
basket. Yes,
exactly.
That's something I always say, don't ever keep all your eggs in the same basket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's very important. And so what would be a piece of advice that you would give somebody that maybe is kind of at that point or feeling of things are okay, or maybe even they're good, but there's still kind of that something's missing?
I think the piece of advice that I would give is that it's not because you start to think about something that you have to implement it right away. So there is so many people say, yeah, I have this feeling that something is not right, but I don't know what. And I'm afraid to discover it, because that's it. Then I have to change everything at once. So like, it's really like black or white. And my piece of advice is, then if you just have the feeling that something is not right, it's the perfect moment to look at something, because you have time, you have no pressure. So you can just take a book, have this kind of podcast, to have some new idea, to try to understand what's going on inside, to maybe just try. It's what we do in my 3 months program, is to try some new ideas, to talk to people, but you are still safe. And you can still put that on the edge if you don't want to use it. But you started the process, the journey. And if you start the project and this journey, it's not that you have to give up of what you have already. So there is different kind of steps, step by step, baby step, you can go for it. It's not like going in the cold water like that.
Right. Just jumping all in. And
yeah,
I've said that to some people too. I've said, like, just try things. And it could be, so if, let's say, it's they feel like they just need more exercise and movement, I say, well, instead of, saying I'm going to do too much, it's like, go try one yoga class, go try one kickboxing class. If you want something, go try something to see if you like it. Or online, there's so many courses. And I go through a website called Coursera, and I'm always taking a course just out of lots of times it's my own interest. Sometimes it's psychology, sometimes it's international law, it's whatever it is. And one time I remember thinking, like, maybe coding, maybe I should become a coder. And this was many years ago. And I thought, I'm going to try it. So I went on, I signed up and I took a course. And I finished the course, but I quickly realized I do not want to be
that's not your thing.
I do not. But it was enough that I thought, okay, you know, that even that elimination of knowing, okay, that's something I definitely don't want to do. Fast forward years later, I've got websites and stuff. So I do a little bit and I'm like, okay, I remember I feel okay changing this bit of code or doing this tiny bit or enough to know, yeah, I can't do that. I need to hire somebody else.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's that not necessarily what do I want to do? We can eliminate by, okay, what do I know that I don't want to do?
Yeah. And I like the idea to play with the idea, to be a little bit more playful and say, okay, I can do something and maybe I'm not going to use it. Maybe it's not for a purpose. It's just for the fun to do it, to have the experience and to play with it. Like the project that we sometimes put together with my clients, they are not going to use it because they find something else, but we had fun playing with that. And it's a lot then, so in your brain, it's like more creativity, more space, more assurance that you can create something, you can find solutions. So it's as well, just the process itself is interesting and can bring you a lot of benefits for your daily life. So sometimes it's indeed, so it's like just enjoying to do something just for the pleasure of doing it. Like you say, okay, one yoga class there, and it's not because you are going to take one yoga class that you are going to be yoga teacher in 2 years and that you are going to
right. You may do it and then decide you want to do it more often. You may try it and then decide, yeah, that's not my thing. And that's okay. You tried it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing is you don't know unless you try. And I used to say that to my daughter when she was little, and it was more with food related. And she would say, I don't like it. And I said, when have you tried it? She said, oh, I haven't, but I don't like it. And I said, well, then you don't know. I said, you at least have to try it. If you take a bite and you really don't like it, you don't have to have another bite. And there was a few times she would take, and she's making this face of that she doesn't like it. She's like, as she's eating it, and then she's like, actually, that's not too bad. You just have to try.
It's what one of my sons says. He says we have to give the thing to give them a chance. So because he tends like hip hop and loves to dance hip hop, and then one girl came to him and said, okay, would you like to do the Latin classes? And he was like, no. And then he tried, and then they are doing like some competition and stuff like that. And he told me for 1 year ago, I would have said, no, it's not good. But I just decided to just try it. Let's have a try. And then now he's really having fun with that too. And say, okay, my lesson there is that you should just give it a try and give it a chance. And maybe it's going to be far more fun than what you think.
Yeah, because it's true. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we like until we try. We don't know what we really don't like until we try.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good lesson.
It's a very good lesson. And I think that's a, it's a great note to kind of end things on, as you don't know unless you try. So just try many things. You're not stuck to them. You don't have to continue to do them. Just
like some people just start to learn a new language just for the fun of starting a new language, and just because of that you open to a new culture eventually, so which is a nice way to look at it as well. So indeed, so when you try things or when you speak out things, so there is like a space which is created where magic can happen. A lot of things can happen.
A lot of things can happen with just that opening that door, just that little bit. That a lot can. So, well, Christelle, if there's people that want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you? What are your social media channels? How can they get in touch with you?
I am a lot on LinkedIn. It's where I am really active. I love LinkedIn, but you can find me on Instagram. So Freedom Catcher is on Instagram, and I have my website. So it's Christelle pilot.com. So it's where you can find me, Instagram and LinkedIn the most, my website for sure. you can write me a message. I love to chat with people wherever you are.
Okay, perfect. And we'll put those links in the show notes below.
Okay.
So if people need to come back or if they're listening while they're driving or something, we'll have that in there so they can find you and be in touch with you. So again, I just wanted to say thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure our listeners got some valuable information from you.
I thank you. I thank you for having me. Thank you very much.